Hello and welcome back to the Impossible Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm architect Anna and I'm an entrepreneur on a mission to do the impossible. And today we're going to be talking about the fear of being seen. Totally valid fear. So if you are trying to do something big in your life, if you're trying to start a business, especially from scratch, it can be really hard. And one of the best things that you can do to get it off the ground faster is by being visible online, on LinkedIn, on social media, so that people will know who you are and know what you are doing and what you are selling and determine whether or not they want to work with you. It's a great way to build trust and also warm up your audience over time. There might be people that watch you for a couple years before they ever want to buy from you, but then when it comes to the actual purchase decision, it's a very quick one. But also, if you're just trying to do anything in life, you might need to be seen if you're trying to interview for a big job or get your public speaking career off the ground or go into the film industry. Being fear of being seen might not be the one for you, but it's definitely options. Um, and also, it can be different for every single person, and that fear might stem from a lot of different places. So the fear of being seen, it could be that it only functions for you, and I'm going to give you a couple real examples, like online, live, online recorded, in-person, in-person recorded. There could be different things that actually scare you, and you might not realize that one of them might and one of them might not. So for me, online live streaming, totally fine. In-person, live, totally great. The second something is recorded, I get a little bit nervous, right? Because then things can be taken out of context. Things can be misunderstood. People can like actively disagree with you and comment angry things. Whereas if it's live, done and gone, it's kind of, for me, it doesn't really have as much of an impact. For some people, in person freaks them out. If you had to do like, I'm going to ask you right now, if you had to do a public speaking event with 100 people online and 100 people had their cameras on, how would you feel? If 100 people online had their cameras off, how would you feel? If either of those were recorded, how would you feel? Any different? And then also if you had to do 100 people in person, also live versus live and recorded, would you feel any different for each of those things? Because depending on how you feel, your fear of visibility and fear of being seen could be different. It could mean different things. It could stem from different options. And I tend to like to get to the root cause of my fears and gaps. And the way that I do that again is I use AI to interview me to help me be introspective and think about what it is truly that is holding me back. Because fear is a weird one. It can come from a lot of different places, and it can come from something that you don't really imagine, you know? And this is something that, of course, you could talk to a therapist about. But if it's just something that's not necessarily like a mental health problem, anyone can do therapy without having a mental health problem, by the way. Therapy is good and helpful. If it's something that's going to help you with your personal and professional development, use a chatbot to interrogate. Why not try and figure it out? Go on a little discovery mission, right? You're like going to Sherlock Holmes that. So try to figure it out that way. So there could be a lot of things that it might be coming from. But if you are trying to do anything big in this world, and I'm hoping people listening to this podcast are ambitious entrepreneurs, like you're trying to do something big, you're trying to make some change, it's very, very possible that once you put yourself out there, there will be people that take what you say out of context, that completely disagree with you, that completely misunderstand what you're saying for whatever reason, or that, just flat out hate you for saying whatever it is that you said. These are all things that are true and will likely happen. And I'm not saying you have to be comfortable with that, but if you really want something in this world and you really want to put yourself out there and achieve greatness, you're very, very likely gonna go through it. Like, I have such a small audience right now. I'd say like minuscule, almost non-existent. For those of you guys who are there, I love you. Hello. Um, but even with that tiny, tiny audience, like I'm talking like, less than 5,000 people across all social media platforms at the moment, I would say that I still get hate comments every other day at the moment. Like every day, every other day. It's kind of like increased over time to like, once a week to every day, whatever. Um, and that's okay. Like if you're trying to build a business, if you're trying to do something, wouldn't it be crazy if every single human on the planet agreed about everything? that would be crazy, and it's also not true, and it makes things interesting that we have different perspectives and disagree on things. So, if someone doesn't agree with you online, that's to be expected because we are all different people. We come from different backgrounds, we have different perspectives, and that's fine. If you're running a business, if you're trying to grow an ambition that you have or a goal that you're trying to achieve, again, whatever you put out there, you will attract the correct people for you and you will repel, I guess, the correct people that are not for you. You cannot help everyone. It would be great if you could, but it's just not possible. You can't help everyone for lots of different reasons, and you can't please everyone. If you are a people pleaser and you think that you're pleasing everyone, you're probably hurting yourself. And also, if you are a people pleaser, I want you to do a test. Set just one very simple boundary and see who gets mad at that boundary. Because if they get mad at any boundary you set, it's because they were taking advantage of your boundaries. Okay, cool. But you cannot please everyone. You cannot make everyone happy. You cannot help everyone. And that's okay. How could you? We only have a finite amount of energy. We only have a finite amount of resources. I mean, some of you guys might have a lot more, but that's cool. Use whatever you have to your advantage and try to make it work. And try to identify where the fear is actually coming from. It could be lots of different areas. And also, like I mentioned this at the very end of the last episode, there are definitely levels to this fear of being seen. So right now, you can see me. You can see me on the podcast. And you might not think that I was afraid to film this podcast, season 2, with video, but I was. And there's a lot of different reasons for it. And I'm going to describe the situation. You'll be like, how were you still afraid to film it? I just was. So a year and a half ago, I started putting out a video reel every single day on more than 4 different social media platforms. I started with 7 and I eventually got down to 4 platforms that I would every single day for 18 months, a video reel. So I'm already quite visible. Like if you're camera shy, you need camera confidence. I was already doing that, but in like very predictable short form. I knew what I was going to be saying. In some cases, I memorized what I was going to say, and then I said it, and then I clipped it, or I did whatever movements I needed to, and then I cut the clips together. So I did that, right? And that might be a huge step for someone, even just making one of those videos, let alone every single day. You would think with the comments that I got online and the way that I was producing things and the type of things I tested, that I would get over any type of fear. Also, I did 300 podcast episodes, all audio, for the first season of this podcast. You would think that I would be afraid to then make this, or I wouldn't be afraid. But the truth is, even though I was very transparent in the first season, some might even call me an oversharer, it was all audio. And I know the type of people who listen to audio podcasts versus the type of people who watch video podcasts and also watch shorts that are cut out of video podcasts are different types of people. I would say the people who listen to long form audio podcasts understand a bit more nuance. They're more patient. They're willing to listen, clearly. So I was then nervous to switch to video podcasts where you could see what I was saying. You could hear, like, you could see and hear my opinions from a visual perspective. And also, again, I'm using this to cut for short social media shorts. So yes, it will intentionally be cut out of context, which made me really nervous. Even though I knew this was something that's going to streamline my entire social media system, I was afraid. Like I was supposed to be filming all of this back at the end of December, and I just kept not doing it. I was like, okay, I need to fix this. I need to fix that. Like the bookshelf isn't ready. The things don't look right. The lighting is wrong. The soundproofing needs to be right. I need to test the microphone. The camera's not working. And like I've slowly made these iterations to make it better and better. But I could have just started. I could have started and it wouldn't have been as good, but at least it would have improved over time. I mean, I'm planning for this second season to be 50 episodes. I'm sure the quality will change and improve over time, but for now, like, this is what you get, and I think it's all right. I've got a big light here. I've got LEDs behind me. I decided after the first episode to put another LED there to like highlight the soundproofing a little bit. And like I've just slowly made these changes each time. It's never going to be perfect the first time you do it. You will slowly get better and better. And the way that I thought about it was, if one day I actually want to like work within a podcast consultancy agency or company to help produce a super high quality version of this podcast with guests and everything, that's fantastic. But I need to be comfortable talking on camera. I need to be comfortable speaking on microphone, being able to do all of this, because what's the point in paying someone else if you can't confidently do it by yourself first? So even if you're testing something and you're like, "Oh, it's not gonna be good enough, it's not gonna be perfect," it will get better. You will get more confident, you will understand yourself, and you will understand the systems more and more as you go, and it'll be fine. But I think it's great to do these kind of tests as you're working. And also, it's also crazy that this I mean, it is what it is, but it's also crazy that this freaked me out so much because I literally do, like, AI training all the time, online, in person, sometimes to hundreds of people without their cameras on. That's also being recorded. Those ones make me the most nervous, but I do them all the time, so really this shouldn't have freaked me out. But because this is like my, like, baby project, I really care about it, and I want it to do well, and I want it to help people. I think I put so much, emotion behind it, and, it kinda linked with my identity a little bit. Never good. Try and separate things from your identity and self-worth as much as possible. It made me nervous. So I had to really start to look at, like, why I was afraid, why I wasn't actually taking the leap to get started, and as of today, and I'll just tell you, like, the funny story. So it's now March, and like I said, I was supposed to record a lot of this back in December so that I could then just start to schedule these podcasts every week and then use the shorts as I go. Initially, I was planning to do 7 episodes at once so that I could switch back and forth between different shirts. So I've got a whole pile of clothes right next to me because I'm batch recording right now, and I'm switching shirts in between episodes so that when I do the short form content, I can organize them in folders by episode and then also organize them by date. So then once they're taken out of the folder, I can scratch them off that list from the shorts cut out and put them in. But I'll make sure that I rotate between shirts and episodes so that every single day when someone's looking on social media, it'll look like a new day. But actually, this is all just being batch recorded. And yes, I could have recorded these throughout the last couple months, but I'm recording, I don't know, anywhere from 5 to 9 episodes today. I'm about to have major surgery on my knee, and I'll be, like, out of commish for a while. So I was like, "I need to get this done." So I guess that added a bit of urgency, but I could have done it any time, you know? So if you're feeling stuck, it could be that maybe you just need to add a little bit of urgency. A thing that I like to do is public accountability of some form. Just announce on wherever that you're going to do something by a certain date. And even if no one cares, most people don't and they won't remember, you'll kind of feel this like internal urgency that you need to meet that target. And for me, I was like, My leg's going to be all crazy for like several weeks. I'm not going to be able to record anything. I want to do all these batch recording beforehand. So I kind of just, it's 3 months delayed, sort of, but I'm batching everything today. Beautiful. And it made it a little bit easier. Sorry, that was my knee cracking. I don't know if you heard that. It's made it a little bit easier just to know that it's taking the pressure off just to record back to back to back. So, I think I said this on like a reel that I made ages ago, but if you are a perfectionist and that is also stemming as part of your fear issues and the reason why you're not taking action, maybe just add like a little bit more to your plate and then it will overwhelm you a little bit to the extent that you know that you can't make everything perfect because it just needs to get done, and done is better than not done. So if you can start something, progress is much better than perfection if perfection means that it never actually goes public or you never actually do anything with it. There are definitely levels to this. I've described a few of them, so hopefully you know where you sit. It could be that you are afraid to even just write a post on LinkedIn. I mean, I don't know if these numbers are still true, but I heard that it was like 4% of people write and comment and stuff on LinkedIn, and then 1% of people actually like post regularly on LinkedIn. So you would be part of a minority if you were to do that. And I would say out of all the platforms when it comes to like business and nuance and, trying to find clients and collaborations and partnerships and all of that, definitely LinkedIn. The other platforms, I have seen mostly volatility and not success, but I've helped a few people along the way, so is what it is. But again, if you're going to be doing one thing, you might as well just distribute it to other places as well. You have a bit of effort, share it out. It's kind of like this podcast, right? Instead of having all of my separate pieces of effort in all different locations constantly draining me and creating a bottleneck in my business, because I'm trying to work towards like long term goals as well as short term goals, now combine them. And that's really helpful. So if you can think of the work that you're doing, how can you then distribute that work to multiple audiences or multiple platforms or multiple clients? Then you can find a way to do that. And again, I am an AI trader, so there's lots of different ways that you can do that with AI. If it's like a report that you're doing and you need to share it with different shareholders, again, just put in the different types of like tone of voice, length, what they would like to focus on, whether that's finances or key overviews or marketing stats or anything like that. And then just have it change around the criteria for the report and have it regenerate it. There's so many different ways to tailor and customize things for lots of different audiences. So that's a little bit on the fear of visibility. Hopefully, it's giving you a little bit of food for thought. Where's your fear coming from? I've noted down a couple other fear locations. So, yes, it could be fear of judgment, like you put yourself out there and then you're worried about people judging you. What's what's the worst case scenario if someone judges you and hates you online? Like, what's the worst case scenario if a stranger hates you? They hate you. Oh well. I mean, like probably you're not a big part of their day, so they hate you and they move on. If it gets serious, like obviously there's like crazy scenarios, but that's less likely. If a stranger hates you, again, not a big deal. There's lots of strangers that hate me now. Sad. I don't want people to hate me, but it is what it is. One thing that kind of helps me think about it, especially if you're someone who is maybe trying to put yourself out there more, maybe do public speaking or put things out on social media or start a podcast or a blog or a newsletter or whatever it might be, and you're worried about judgment or rejection or visibility or, just being 100% yourself, whatever it might be. Let's say you do get that negativity thrown back at you. Ask yourself, are those people trying to achieve what you are trying to achieve? Have they achieved what you're trying to achieve? If the answer is no, would you take advice from this person? Probably not. So why do you care about their opinion? And yes, it hurts. It always, like, depending on the day, it'll hurt more than other days if someone says something mean about you. But again, they don't really know who you are. They don't know a lot about what you're doing. They might be just seeing like a small glimpse of something that you've put out there, and you just kind of have to be comfortable with that, knowing that, again, you might be misunderstood. And it's okay. The way that I think about it is, Would would I take advice from someone who spends their time scrolling on social media and writing mean comments to strangers on the internet? Um, no, not really. Would I even spend my time engaging with someone like that? Also, no, not really. I mean, my energy needs to be spent more wisely. I have like an energy problem where I feel quite tired a lot of the time, and I need to use it as wisely as possible. I need to help as many people as possible, and I can help those people. It's okay. I move on. And maybe that will help you too. I've only been doing this for 18 months and, I've gotten more comfortable dealing with this kind of like, I guess, negativity being thrown at me on a regular basis, but you get better at blocking it out. I was thinking about building an AI agent that basically reviews all my social media comments and shows me all the ones that are asking for advice or support or guidance. And then I can write the response and then it posts them so that I then don't have to expose myself to all of the negativity, kind of like creating like an insulation buffer. I don't really have time for that right now. I could also get a virtual assistant to do the same thing, but then I have to give them all my logins. So again, it goes down to trust. Do you trust a person? Do you trust an agent? If you need help, you're going to have to delegate and release control at some point, but figure out what works well for you and what doesn't. Figure out what your goals are. How passionate about them are you? How strongly do you feel about them? If you need to add a little bit of urgency or a little bit more onto your plate to remove some perfectionism, go for it. I've tried to cover a few different angles for this episode, depending on where you're coming in with it, but you're beautiful. You've got value to add to this world, and you deserve to be seen and deserve to share that. And if you are in the spot where you're like, I don't know what value I have to share, I'll ask you this. If you could go back in time for a week and spend a whole week 10 years ago, back in time 10 years ago, with your younger self, 10 years younger, what advice would you give them? You got 1 week to spend with your younger self. What advice would you give them? Anything? I'm sure you've got some advice, whether it's like life experience or career experience or something. You probably have something that you would share with your younger self to make their life a little bit easier or faster or better, right? Yeah, you do. You know you do. Okay, so that's value. And that is something that you can use as part of your business and help other people to make sure that they have a better life too. So you've got value, you deserve to be seen, and I will see you in the next episode, which is about designing a future you can actually live in. And that's going to mean a couple different things to a couple different people. And I'll give some examples as well. So I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next episode.